You need not remember it, right? Just think about like what we discussed, right? When we think about a B2B company, right? What they sell, the product or services, whom they sell, what are the product and services they sell, and to whom they sell. So when you talk about that whom part, right? To whom they are selling, and when we are answering that whom part in terms of businesses, when they are selling a product or services to businesses or government bodies, right? Organizations, central government, state government, right? Municipalities or institutions, right? Uh, few year, I am not sure whether last year GE Healthcare came. Last to last year, GE Healthcare came and they took 6 students, right? So there they gave them the sales position, and the target is to you have to go to the hospitals, right? Because GE Healthcare have those kind of MRI machines and CT scan machines, right? So now what will happen? As a B2B sales manager or a sales associate, right? You are not going to a customer like you and me or some other person to, or like let's say small kirana stores. Now your target are hospitals like KIMS, Apollo, AHRA or Amri, right? Or AIMS, right? So they become your customer. And what you are selling them? The MRI machines or the CT scans. So there you have to have, obviously you, it is not that you have to know everything about MRI machines or CT scans. You know how to sell a technical product. Similarly, let's say ERP software. We talked about those SaaS companies, right? Software as a service. If you join them, there is opportunity if you join them, right? So the idea is you should know how to sell a technical product, because most of the times, so when I say technical product, it is not that you have to know all details about that product, right? So that is a big difference when you talk about B2B and B2C. Tomorrow, if you join ITC, you need not have to know how a like kind of what is that EP noodles are manufactured, right? What is the carbohydrate percentage on that, or what is the protein, or what is the fat percentage on that? That is all written on the kind of packaging, right? Even if you do not know, that is okay, right? You are mostly focusing on the packaging part, how much commission the salesperson, or sorry, the kirana store will take. So those are the few things where you will be interested on, or you will be making a sales. But think about a B2B product. Now what happens, let's say you are selling a software, this Zoom software, let's say you joined Zoom, and right now your targets are educational institutes like KIT or SOA or any let's say I am Sambalpur, right? Now the point is when you are going to make a sales or a sales pitch to these institutes, you have to have a certain understanding about your product or services, and that is where the big difference between B2B and B2C comes. B2C, if your communication skill is good, networking is good, without knowing, if you know it is better, always better. So I'm not telling you should not know, but in B2B it is must. I cannot say that okay, I do not know how the Zoom software works or how Zoom is better than Google Meet or Microsoft Team, and I'm going to make a sales. That is somewhere the big difference comes, right? You should have at least certain some knowledge about the product or services, right? When you are going to make a sales. Not now, obviously, you cannot read about all the products or services when you obviously join a company, right? And that is the training part happens. Initial 3 months, 2 months, they give a lot of emphasis on product training or the service training. You have to know, you have to understand how that software works, how that product works, right? Not in the from the engineering point of view. So let's say it is a software, nobody is going to ask you to code, but what is the benefit of that software? So if I talk about Zoom, how does Zoom works better than Microsoft Team or Google Meet? And it can be advantage not only in product terms, it can be advantage in terms of pricing terms also, or the after sales support, or the customer care. Those are the things which you should teach on, right? We'll discuss some of them when you get into the sales part, right? But I just wanted to cover how this sales will be different from B2C. Some of you might have done your internship in IT or FMCG companies or any B2C companies, right? So there, think about your customer. Though I am like kind of like consumer, final consumer of your, let's say ITC, if it is Ashirvad Data or if any tools, whom you are like as a day-to-day sales activities, whom you are interacting with. You are interacting with maybe the modern retail outlets like Reliance Retail or Big Bazaar or small kirana shops. Every day you'll go make a round, see that how many products they have left out, which are the products they are selling more, which are the products are not being sold, what kind of promotions, sales promotions they are doing, right? Any new promotions from your end, you will kind of educate them, right? But think about B2B. You are thinking of a institute, you are thinking of a business, right? So you are going to meet the business head there or the purchase manager there. How you are going to convince him to buy your product or service, right? So that is the key difference, whom you are interacting with. Yeah, Jatin.
Sir, for private organization or private buyer, the B2B business strategy some means may be different, but for government bodies means if the government body is a buyer means another business. So what is the procedure for means selling a product, because they have some fixed data set and fixed mindset that we are purchasing for our, suppose they are purchasing for a portal, government portal, then they are buying, I am a software I have a software company. So what may be the procedure, or what may be the means uh, what are they demand for their means purchasing that government portal? So in other cases, like in private, we have to say that we will give you service, some technical part. It is happening means we can provide you all kind of service. But for government bodies, they have some fixed, like they just want that kind of product for a fixed amount. So what may be the difference between selling a product to government bodies and private organization?
Uh, Not much difference, but yeah, when I agree with your point when you talk about government, the sales will be much more restrictive in terms of legal point of view. Let us take an example and try to understand that. Think about companies which come to our campus, right? Deloitte, PwC, and all those companies, right? What they do? They do consulting, right? So whom they consult? Either they can consult private companies or they can consult the government organizations. Let's say Odisha government. Let's say Odisha or Bhubaneswar as a city, right? It is a smart city. Right now, let's say the municipal or the like kind of Odisha government try to kind of build Bhubaneswar as a tourism city or a best or the one of the best smart city, right? They want to get the idea or get the kind of suggestion from consulting companies, right? Right. So this can be a, so what happens? So they need some consulting services. Who is going to provide? Companies like Deloitte or PwC, right? Deloitte and PwC become the seller, the Odisha government or the Bhubaneswar municipality or corporation, right? That becomes your buyer, right? Now what happens? How the sales, like obviously in the second or third class we'll discuss in detail the 8 steps in B2B purchase. But just to give you an understanding, because you asked that question, right? If you see like physical paper right now, I think most of us are not getting the newspapers, right? But some of you, if you have newspapers in your home, right? If you open a newspaper, I think almost every day there will be some tender notice, right? So tender notice means somebody is requesting for a quote, requesting for a proposal. Yes, sir. Hello.
Sir, actually, what I have seen always, sir, government. Hello, sir,
Yeah.
am I audible, sir?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sir, actually, what I've seen always, sir, government always always hire advertising companies, sir, private advertising company. For example, Omex Privating for their branding and all. The tourism company, they always hire or always take on a contract basis of any tourism marketing company so that they can market their state or any district for a particular tourism activity.
Yeah, so what I'm asking or what we are discussing right now, how do they hire those companies, right? So it is not that
Yes,
certain
sir.
day the commissioner asks, okay, let us select that company, right? Or let us select Deloitte, or let us select that advertisement company, right? It cannot happen that, because there will be a lot of legal complications, right? So the idea is they will float a tender or a request for quote. Many companies will apply for that tender, and there will be a selection process. There will be a techno technical and like kind of technical part, there will be a commercial part. So to answer Jatin's question, the criteria is set by the particular, let's say the Odisha state government. They will have a particular criteria to select the vendors, select who are going to supply those services, right? Similarly, if let's say Deloitte can advertise, like kind of Deloitte can give their consulting services to KIT also. Let's say KIT wants to become one of the top university in India, right? And they want certain consulting services, how to go there, how to become one of the biggest university. They want certain consulting services from these companies, right? So they also can go by the tender, right? But yes, what Jatin was asking, the processes or the time taken in a government tender, right? And that is where the like lot of challenges happen in terms of bribe, in terms of corruption, right? Uh, I'll say in a kind of obviously not pointing fingers, because our like system has happened in such a way that most of the times corruption creeps in those kind of gaps, right? But we'll not get into that discussion. But yeah, it takes a, if I think about a private company and a government company, right? The time it takes to finalize a tender, most of the time is high in case of a government due to all the processes and procedures, right? It takes a lot of time in comparison to a private. But the way they select, the criteria they put, 10 people are asking to provide their services. Whom should I select? You are going to buy a car. How do you decide on which car you have to buy? You have certain criteria. Okay, I have a budget limit of 5 lakhs or 5 lakh 50,000. I should have a mileage. I'll get into a diesel car. It should have enough space, right? I have a bigger family, so it should have, car should have enough space, right? So these are the criteria you are building, right? You might not write down, or you might write it down, but it is your internal criteria. Think about a company. If tomorrow as an organization PT is going to buy 20 cars or 20 buses for the students, so the criteria need to be clearly defined, and that need to be circulated to all the bidders, Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland, whoever is going to offer their cars, or sorry, offer their buses to us, right? So that is the difference between when B2C. Think about same product we are buying. We are buying certain, let's say, uh, cars for yourself, right? You'll be buying a car for your family. KIT University is buying cars, let's say 5 cars, so that the guest, whoever is coming to our campus, they can travel in those cars, right? How you decide your criteria and how KIT University is deciding that criteria, and what are the differences, right? Or whether it is KIT University or Odisha government or any business who are buying cars. What will be the conditions, what will be the criteria, and what will be the selection process? Today you want to buy a car, you look into how much you are going to give cash or through your credit card, and how much loan you are going to take, and you will go about within 2 to 3 months. If the car is available on the showroom, you will buy it. Right now, think about KIT University. If they want to buy 10 cars, so they have to put a maybe 100 or 200 pages of tender document, writing everything, what that car should look like, what are the technical specifications, what are the warranty, what are the annual maintenance contract, everything need to be written down. That need to be published in a paper, tender notice. The bidders, vendors like Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland, will be given time to bid for that. That means provide their offer for that. Then there are salespeople. If let's say you are joined Maruti or Tata Motors or Ashok Leyland, you will come to our campus. We'll try to discuss with the purchase manager who are buying those cars why your products are better than other competitors. What are the additional things you are going to give? Right? See the difference. When it was B2C, as a customer, most of the times you will go to the shop, right, to buy the product. Right now, what is happening in B2B? The shop itself is coming. The salesperson from the shop, Tata Motors, Ashok Leyland, they will come to our campus. Obviously, it cannot be one car only, right? If we are buying 10 or 20 cars, their salesperson will come to our campus, will give a presentation, will show that what are the benefits if we buy their car. Then the purchasing group who is there in the KIT University, based upon all the offers they get from all the companies, right? They will decide, right? So here, if you are buying a car, you will take your opinion from friends, families, maybe certain Google review. You will look into the internet, right? Which is a better car under 5 lakh or 50,000? What are the different car models available? And at the end, you will buy it, right? Here, everything need to be written down. I cannot, if let's say I am in that purchasing group, I cannot just decide, no, no, I like that car, let us buy that. That particular purchasing group need to follow the processes which has been established prior. We cannot decide on our own. Okay, let us decide, let us vote which car we should buy. Because that we need to be fair to all the companies. Otherwise, there will be legal implication. They'll put a case, right? That is the difference how the B2B and B2C sales happens. So tomorrow, if you go and rather than Tata Motors, you'll go to their kind of what you will say showroom. You are almost going to finalize, but later on you changed your mind and you bought a Mahindra car. They are not going to put a case on you. But think about us. Us means say, as an institute, if you are going to buy 20 cars, and we have mentioned these are the conditions, right? And let's say some company is meeting those conditions, I have to give the tender, I have to give the final kind of bid to that vendor. I cannot change that based upon my liking or disliking. Personally, let's say if I'm I have a car of certain brand, I cannot say that okay, for the college also you buy that car. So that is somewhere. So I'm not telling you that won't be influencing certain part of influence will be there, but it need to follow the processes, right? And that is somewhere we'll discuss how to influence a B2B buyer, because there is no single buyer, right? So there will be a group of people who are buying, who are not buying, who are deciding what to buy. If KIT University is buying, so who is KIT University? There will be a group of 5 to 10 people who have been authorized to make that purchase. Let's say you are from Maruti. Now your job is to convince those group of 5 to 10 people that your products or your services are better in comparison to other product or services. Same case what we are discussing on the GE healthcare. If you are selling those MRI or CT scan machines, you have to convince those like group of people who are deciding on behalf of Apollo hospitals why your product or services are better than other competitors, right? You have to make a presentation. That is when you talk about sales pitch, what you should include in a sales pitch, what you should not include. So that is something where you have to build on your skill sets. In B2B, that is must, because most of the times they'll be requesting for this presentation, product presentation. Within 5 to 10 minutes, you have to talk about everything, right? And that is somewhere, like I said in the first part, that industry analysis will help you, right? So that is how like we took much time on this, but yeah. To going back to Jatin's original question, the processes procedures are almost same, but due to legal implications, most of the times, not always, most of the time, for the similar purchases, government companies take a lot of time in comparison to private companies to make the same sales or to make the same purchases. So now the second part is, you might be selling a product or services to the customer, right? Your customer is another business or another institution, right? For what, right? It can be for incorporation, for usage, for resale. Can anybody give examples of this company doing this? Think about a B2B company, right? Think about a company who is selling product to another company, right? Or another, let's say, government organization, right? So now what happens? The company who is buying the product or service, how they're going to, what they're going to do with their product or service? Either they can incorporate means they're going to use that product or services in their own product or services, or use it, right, or resell it, just send it to next customer. Anybody can give examples of this?
Sir, Intel.
Intel will come under which? Incorporation or use or resell?
So incorporation with Microsoft.
So who is incorporating? Microsoft or Intel?
Intel. Intel.
Microsoft, sir.
Microsoft, right? Because
Microsoft, yes.
Microsoft or whatever Dell or those companies who have their own personal computers or the laptops or the desktops, right? So they are integrating, right? They are taking the product of Intel, right? Integrating into the laptop or using integrating into that whatever laptop
System,
desktop
CPU.
system and selling it, right? So that becomes the incorporation. Now what happens? Use. What is the difference between incorporation and use? So incorporation we discussed. Think about a laptop in front of you. It can be Lenovo, it can be Dell. It most of the times it will either have Intel processor or AMD processor, right? So AMD processor, AMD sold those chips or Intel sold those processor to Dell or Lenovo. Lenovo or Dell have integrated those microprocessors into their laptop, into their desktops, right? So that is the incorporation part. Use part, what is is there any difference between incorporation and use?
Sir, can we say that SAP software, ERP software, incorporate by KIT University and also used by KIT University?
It will be incorporated because again it is customized based upon, see, SAP or ERP, any ERP software, when you think about it is not a single software, right? It is a combination of different modules. Depending upon what KIT University is utilizing or what KIT University requires, that module will be specifically designed for it. So if you see, it is a KIT SAP. Similarly, if it is using in, let's say, SOA University or any other university in Odisha, Utkal University, if they start using it, that software ERP product will be customized for them, right? So you have integrated that software into your education system, incorporated that.
So as in use different parts of a car, like the
Yeah.
doors or the battery of a car that can be used by a company, sir.
Yeah. So not necessarily we'll get into that depth of discussion, but yeah, he was right. So the idea is the single, like, kind of a minute difference between use and incorporation is when I incorporate, right? Still the brand is most of the times visible. Again, I'm repeating, most of the times, not necessarily always, right? So if I'm using Intel in the laptop, right? Intel is prominently visible. AMD is prominently visible. Think about the RAMs, RAM, the memory, or something else, right? The speakers, all those things, right? Or the best examples can be process industry, right? So your any processed food you are eating, right? At the end, it is a ITC or a Lay's chip or anything you are buying, or the EP noodles, right? But they are not using only their product, right? So they might be buying different chemicals, different raw materials from different manufacturers. They're mixing them together, processing it, and at the end what happens? Now I cannot know, as a user, I cannot know raw material from whom, the chemicals from whom, though they'll be mentioning in the packaging, right? Think about, so most of the times when we are talking about a processed food or the any product which has been processed, right? So in that case what happens? The raw materials do not have their individual identity, right? Individual branding, they do not have their individual branding. When I open a laptop, I can know that, okay, this is the Intel processor, this is this RAM. Most of the times I'll be able to know that which are the product brand, which are the companies, right? But when I'm talking about the users, right, it is already mixed, so that there is no individual identity of the constituent brands, right? Think about any processed food. Can you, by, if I give you a Lay's packet, can you understand that where those potatoes came? or where the other like kind of flavors and all those things came. But you know that it is not that everything the company is manufacturing, right? They are buying from different suppliers, processing the like potatoes, chemicals through their plant, at the end packaging it and providing you a Lay's, cheap or Kurkure or whatever it is, right? So, but the raw materials are from different vendors, right? So when they are selling it, it is a B2B for them. Think about the potato farmers when they are selling the potatoes to the HUL or PNG or ITC, right? So it is a B2B for them. But right now it is getting used by the company and being sold to the customer, right? So that is a fine difference between use and incorporation, right? Most of the times when you talk about incorporation, still the identity of the like kind of previous company is visible. Like in this case of Intel, right? Tires, if you think in a car, MRF tires or C8 tires, most of the times it will be visible, right? We know that, okay, if I uh, disassemble a car, I know that most of the items from who, which are the vendors, right? So that's why I said it is a fine line between incorporation and use. Last one is resale. Any idea about resale?
So consulting companies.
Consulting companies, how they are reselling?
So they are reselling they are selling, the company is selling the idea and they are reselling their product.
No, think about, the idea is who is doing this incorporation, use and resell. So there is a company which is selling the product or services to one company, right? Right. And this company, right, which is in the middle, which is not the final customer, right? So they are again selling that. Think about the Dell example you took. So Dell is buying the microprocessors, RAM, other things from different companies, then incorporating in their laptop or the desktop and selling to the final customer, right? So that is the incorporation and usage we discussed. Right now, think about a company which is in the middle, which is taking the product or services from some other company, but rather than just incorporating or using it, they're just reselling it.
Sir, third
The
party
retail
service
So
shops,
provider.
Third part.
Third.
like Big Bazaar or Pantaloons.
yeah, think not all the products. See, so when Big Bazaar and Pantaloons, they're selling HUL and let's say PNG. So that is a big difference. So they're working as a channel partner, right? But still, I'll take that example. In Big Bazaar and Pantaloon, you see their own label products are there. Big Bazaar, Reliance Retail, Pantaloons, they'll be selling their own label product, right? Or like even the Amazon or Flipkart, they have their own label product. Obviously, most of the time they are not manufacturing that. What they do, they take the product from the raw material vendor, they just change the label. Resell means they're taking a product, changing the packaging or the label, and selling in their own brand name. Most of the companies do that. Big Bazaar, Reliance Retail. So, what are the business model? So they are working as a channel partner for bigger brands, HUL, PNG, ITC. They are selling their product. They are also selling their own product. So when they are selling one product, it is not that they have a manufacturing plant. So if you go to Big Bazaar, there will be their own Big Bazaar brand or Reliance Retail brand, right? Obviously, most of the times it is not their own product. What they do, they buy it from the raw material vendor, put their own labeling, right? Only the changes in the label, right? The package, and they resell it. So that is the part of resell. Any questions on this?
So,
Yeah.
Big Bazaar, yes, sir. Big Bazaar have its own brand like PJC and Buffalo Mixer when they are selling their products. So, is there the resale happening?
Yeah, most of the times it is resale. If they do not have their own manufacturing, they are just taking from a raw material, some other company, and changing the packaging. If you know that all of our air conditioners, right? Not all of them. most of the air conditioners, if you see in India, it is actually a resale. And now due to this make in India, they are started manufacturing in India. Otherwise, what used to happen 5 years, because I was in that industry 5 years down the line, most of the Indian this air conditioner manufacturers, they used to buy the product from as it is. There are companies, something called Carrier or Media. Media is one of the big company in China, around $50 billion company. Like Foxconn, Dodge, like kind of build products for Apple and all those mobile companies. Media is a company, MIDEA, one of the biggest company in China. So they build products. Products mean these air conditioners for many companies. Think about Whirlpool, think about LG, think about any electronics company who have air conditioners, right? So what happens? They have their own assembly lines where different products are being built. Indian manufacturers, what they used to do 5 years, 7 years before, they just used to bring the media products and used to change the label. Rather than media, it will be written, let's say Whirlpool or LG. I'm not taking, just I'm giving example. It is not necessary that those are the two companies, right? So what used to happen? They'll take their product, the product from the other company. Only the label will change and they'll sell it under their own brand. So that is where the resale part comes in. But right now it has changed a lot.
So,
Right now, yeah.
so can we take softwares like resale in category? Like
Software.
companies are buying some softwares from different company and they are selling for the business purpose to other people like consumer.
Uh, but still the brand remains same, right? So can you give an example? Let's say if somebody is selling Microsoft Office, right? Still it is Microsoft Office, right? There what happens, it becomes a channel partner. But think about if I
So,
take a, yeah.
so the Grofers is an online shop, grocery shop. So they have their own brand as well, like Grofers sauce and all. So that will also come under resale, right?
Yeah. Correct. So most of the times what they do, let's say grocers, if their own branding, right? So when you talk about own branding, most of the time they won't have their own manufacturing plant. So they will be taking just the product from raw material suppliers, other suppliers. Only the packaging, only the labeling part will be changing, right? Grocers also will be selling other brands, right? For the raw material small suppliers, what they do, they take the product like sauce and all those things. There they'll put the packaging of grocers, right? So that will become a resale.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So resell,
Sir,
if you just, yeah.
Sir, will
Sir,
sir,
Naukri.com or Indeed both are purely resale company, or
Resell in the sense, Naukri,
sir they are selling employee to the employer, like they are the
yeah. So
mediator.
they are the connecting platform, right? So they are not actually selling anything. So they are taking a fee. It can be a platform as a service. So they are providing a platform to the employer to hire the employees.
Sir, they are taking money from the employer, so
Yeah. So
means for
it is
some
a
companies, some big companies, they are providing employees, so
correct.
that
So it is basically you are working as their HR channel partner. So here the services is human resources. So as a human resources channel partner, you will be hiring human resources or the like software engineers or whatever the need is, right? And you will be supplying that to the whichever company you are getting paid for, right? But here there is no resale. So resale, think of reselling means I'm taking a product, putting in my own packaging and selling that product. Right now, the identity of the raw material, nobody knows where that raw material come from, right? Now I'm just putting my own packaging and selling it. So that will become your reselling. I'll obviously increase the price by 10%, 15%, or whatever it is.
Sir, rebranding of Maruti Baleno to Toyota Glanzer, will that be resale?
No, that is again, that is what example you did? What
Sir,
example?
Can BBT also?
BBT
Maruti
means?
Suzuki Baleno, it's like
So
rebranded into.
they are
So
selling the input.
Som, can you come
So,
again?
so they are selling the imported vehicles. in India, so they can be act like a intermediate between them.
So that is again a channel partner, right? So they are not. Are they changing the brands? Are they
No,
like
no, no.
right?
They are just
Again,
tagging their own brand.
yeah. So it is again let's say if they are importing Lamborghini or Ferrari, right? If they are selling the Ferrari and Lamborghini, they are becoming a channel partner. But let's say if they take some imported car and completely rebrand it and sell it their own brand, then it will become a resale. The identity of the original brand won't remain. Someone was asking that Maruti got, but that will be a pure rebranding. Same company is selling a product. Right now, it is a new branded product. I used to go like most of the car companies do that. 3 years, 4 years down the line, whatever car they used to sell, right? They'll change some component, they'll change some external features, they'll rebrand it and sell a new product. Same company is doing the changes in their own brand, right? So that won't become a resale. Resale, think of a company is buying something from some other company, product or service, putting the packaging, putting the changing the label and selling it to the final consumers. That will become your resale. In the car company, when you talked about the imported car, right? So if I'm importing car and selling in that same brand, Lamborghini, Ferrari, Rolls Royce, I'm just working as a channel partner. But if I'm importing a car, which is again illegal, I'm just removing all the uh, signages, brand features, and putting my own brand. That will be a very big legal tussle, right? We should not be able to do that.
Sir, sir, another example can be, sir, accessories used by different motor vehicle companies like Hero and Honda. They are not manufacturing the parts; they are collecting
That is
from
use.
various
That is
factories.
use. That is the middle one what we discussed. Most of the times, if you see Maruti or the automobile companies, they don't manufacture all the components, right? But they will be using all the components. So they're using that products or components in their company, right? So that is the use part. Resell part is that if I'm taking that product, just changing the packaging and selling it.
Sir, Amazon selling certified refurbished product can be resold.
Still the brand is there, right? So when Amazon is selling a Lenovo product or any product you can think of, still the Lenovo brand is there. They're selling a Lenovo product. So that is RESELL, resale, SELL. So they are taking a like from the customer, they are taking that exchange products, right? But still the brand of that Lenovo or let's say washing machine, right? The original brand remains. So here, when we are talking about RESALE, the original brand I am erasing. I'm putting my own brand. There might not be any original brand itself. Think about those chips you are buying from Reliance Retail or the like kind of grocery items you are buying with the Reliance Retail own branding, right? Reliance Retail might not have all the kind of agricultural farms which are producing. They will be taking from the local kind of manufacturers. Only the changing the packaging and reselling it. That will become your resale.
Sir, on-fed collecting milks from various part and then
Yeah,
reselling it.
that can be a resale also.
Sir,
Yeah.
sir, sometime in Big Bazaar or Reliance, sir, they give the combo offer. This all are come under B2B, na, sir, or B2C
Combo offer to
from
whom?
some product, sir, to the customer, sir. Suppose company buys the bourbon biscuit from Cadbury or Britannia and gives the offer with the other product. By buying of two cloths, you will get a one packet of bourbon biscuit and anything that will come under B2B from the company side, na, sir.
If they are buying it separately, yes, it is B2B. But again, selling to a
Okay,
customer, right? It is B2C. When they are selling to
okay, sir.
customers like us, it is B2C. Yeah, but they have, so
Okay,
let's say some gift hampers, they are buying the chocolates and all those things, it will be obviously B2B. Yeah.
okay, sir.
So these are certain examples. Think about a kind of pizza sauce market, right? Those small sachet, 1 rupee or 50 paisa, right? So if there is companies who are into this, they are building those. So anytime you have bought this from Zomato or Domino's or Pizza Hut, right? Those small sachet of sauce comes, right? So there are companies who are building that or who are manufacturing that. So who will be their customers? Food service farms, right? Again, food service farms can be pizza stores like Domino's or the Pizza Hut or the restaurants and cafes, right? Manufacturers who are like, if you go to small frozen stores, right? There are frozen pizza packed ingredients, right? These guy might be selling to them also or directly to supermarkets like Reliance Retail or Big Butcher, right? See, my customers can be, and all these customers are businesses again. If you see the food service firms, who are those? Pizza stores like Pizza, Domino's. Here, those frozen stores, if you are in Bhubaneswar or in Kolkata, there are many stores who sell those frozen products, right? Then supermarkets, obviously, Spencer, D-Mart, Reliance Retail, Big Butcher, right? So this company is selling their product to these kind of businesses, right? And obviously, these companies, whether Pizza, Domino's, or Reliance Retail, they'll be selling to customers like us, right? So that is a B, business to business. Okay. Somebody that time talked about a software, right? Tally software, accounting software, or a ERP. Think about a ERP software, right? They can sell to different businesses. So why this all the businesses are mentioned separately? Because the usage will be different. The tally software, accounting software, the usage from a manufacturer will be different than a service. Similarly, that difference will be from the retailer. That software itself need to be customized. Think about the ERP software what you are using. Our usage will be completely different. How Infosys, if SAP is being used by Infosys for their own management, it will be completely different. If that, say, SAP or Oracle being used in some manufacturing plant, that usage will be completely different. That customer will be completely different, right? So that is again one big difference in B2B. Same product I can customize depending upon the needs, but in B2C it will be impossible. Obviously, still they do those customization, right? Different flavors and all those things, but it cannot be done for 1 crore customers. If you think about chips or the noodles in India, maybe 20 crores or 30 crores people are their customers. It cannot be done for each customer's taste. So they do those segmentation and try to build products, maybe 5 different flavors or 3 different flavors. But think about a B2B company. That product or services theoretically can be customized for each of the customers. SAP is being used by KIT University. That can be customized. There are 890 universities in India. If all of them are using SAP, that software can be customized for all the universities, right? So that is the one advantage of B2B product. Again, not all the products can be customized, right? It takes a lot of physical products cannot be customized. Yeah.
Sir, I think Tally software or SAP can be categorized as B2C companies or
Why do you think
products.
so?
So
Why do you
because
think?
their end consumers are business owners. Okay,
Yeah.
that's why I think it is a B2C.
See, if you think about end consumers, it will be always customers like you and me, right? So think about the transformers. Obviously, I'm not going to put a transformer in my house. Every individual of us are not putting a transformer in our house. Transformers are being bought by the power companies. Power companies are supplying us electricity. So in that sense, if you see, yes, all the product, if you see, final consumers are customers like us. But the idea of whom you are selling, consumers is different. So that is the difference between customer and consumer. Who is buying? Who is paying the money? Are you going to buy, are you paying the money for the software? Direct SAP software usage. Are you paying? Indirectly, you might be paying. You are paying
Sir,
to, yeah.
Sir, I am giving an example of Tally. Okay, I am a business owner and I have a Tally software for our business. Okay, so I am telling that Tally or the company, okay, is a B2C company because they are providing directly to us. They are not hiring an intermediate.
Correct. So when you are buying, so you say as a person you are buying or as a organization you are buying?
as an organization, I am telling here.
Correct. So whom they are selling? They are selling to organization. They are selling to a organization which have a TAN number or a GST number.
Yes, sir.
Right. So it is a B2B.
Yes.
You might be using that. That organization might have only one employee, one user. That is you. So
Yes.
that is not. I'm not telling that cannot be done. Let's say Microsoft Office. You can pay 2,000 rupees in Amazon and you can buy a Microsoft Office product also. Nobody. So you can get a license, right? You can use Microsoft Office. Then in that case, it is a company. Microsoft is selling to you. It is a B2C. But right now, whatever you are using in your laptop, how it happens? Microsoft license the college has taken. College has bought that license, right? For 300 or 500 students. Now you are using that because you are a student of, let's say, School of Management. You have given that laptop. You have been authorized. So you are consuming that. But you have not directly paid money for that. The money who is paying, or the contract is between whom? Microsoft Office and KIT University. So we have bought 1,000 or 10,000 licenses and we have paid for that. Now you have all, obviously you are paying all for education, you are paying, and that is a part of that. And the KIT University or the KIT School of Management have given you laptop, and in that laptop already that software is there. But again, it can happen that you can independently buy a software, Microsoft Office. Nobody can restrict you, right? So in that case, it is a B2C. Microsoft is directly selling a product to you. But in the other case, when you are using this licensed software in the laptop in front of you, that is a different case. Microsoft has sold that product to KIT University. And as a student of KIT University, you are consuming that, you are using that. Got it?
Yes, sir. I get it. But still, there is some kind of confusion in my thought process.
No, you can tell me. So what is the doubt? See, at the
Sir,
end, when you talk about customer, so who is paying money, right? Who is directly paying money? Whom that contract is, right?
yes, sir. Sir, in our example, current example of Microsoft Office or 365,
Correct.
and it is paying, and we are using it.
Correct.
Okay, so we are the one using here.
Correct.
But when we are talking about Tally, we are paying and we are using. No one else is using here.
Correct. So who is paying? So when I say you are paying, as a single person you are paying, or
we
a
as an organization.
Yeah. So that is the difference, right? So you are paying as an organization, not as an individual. If you are buying a Tally software from Amazon, go on, go on.
So, but we individual organization are the only customers to Tally, if I am not wrong.
It doesn't matter. You can be one customer. Yeah, it cannot. It doesn't matter, right? So the point is, you are buying as an individual consumer or as an organization. You are buying it as an organization or as an individual person. So that is the difference. If you are buying it as an individual organization, that means you are giving your GST number, TAN number, company name, right? Then it is a B2B. But if I just buy as an individual, I do not have a company. I want to understand Tally. I want to use Tally. I can also buy. Then in that case, it is a B2C, business to a customer, because that the taxes and legal implications are different. Now what happens? If I'm using Tally, whatever use I make of Tally during my income tax, I can use that. I can put that as my office accessories. But as a customer, if I'm buying it as a B2C customer, individual, you cannot show that in your income tax filing. So there are legal implications associated with that. I'll give you a better example. Car, KIT University. The director of KIT School of Management might be using the car, right? But now what happens? That car is being bought by KIT University. Depreciations will be put. So those of you who have taken finance, right? But as an individual, I cannot show this product in my income tax. If though director is using the car, he is not going to show that product in the income tax, saying that depreciation has happened and all those things. But as an organization, when I'm buying a product or a service, I can show that as my raw material or the asset, and I can show that as my depreciation. So there are legal implications associated with that. So let's say, Vivek, you have a accounting firm. For your understanding, you can buy a tally software and you can like kind of use it. Then it will be a B2C. But you yourself is a single employee, you have a accounting firm. But when you are buying it as an organization, so when you are at the year end, you are filing your income tax, that software becomes a asset in your company. That will have with their own depreciation and all those things. That is a B2B sales. B2C, you have just bought it, you want to leverage it for your own understanding. So there are that concern also.
Now it's clear, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll stop here. We have kind of already beyond our scheduled time. Okay, so next class we'll like kind of take it further, understand the difference between B2B and B2C in detail. Okay, and by next class, hopefully you will be forming your groups, maximum 5 members, and please keep those names to Hijai. Okay. Anyone who has any other questions? Hello. Okay. Chalo, take care. We'll meet next week.
No other doubts, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.